Hi everyone, today we're just gonna drift around and talk about some tips and things that I've learned along the way as I have been learning how to drift using a wheel in Forza Horizon 5. So in this video, as I live stream, I'm gonna try to be talking about some of the things that I've learned, and if there's tips and things that you have, let me know. That'll be really useful, and I know the people that are gonna be watching the video later are also gonna find it very helpful when they see what others are able to teach as we learn to drift all together as a community. All right, so let's go ahead and start going up. This is an Audi that I haven't driven in a long time, but this Audi is the 2011 Audi RS5 Coupe, and it's a performance class S1 right now, and it's tuned for drifting. It's got drift tires, drift suspension, and all that. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and try to take it up this hill. This mountain drift ramp, drift zone is actually pretty good. I really like it because it's long. So if you're really just trying to practice and you don't care too much about points and things, you get really good bends on this and good elevation. So tip number one, it's not in any particular order, but I would just say this is the first tip that kind of came to mind right now as we're talking about it, is to make sure you pick a place where there are bends, because nothing is more frustrating than you trying to learn how to drift and then the road just runs out, you know, and you're like, oh my god, now I want to straight again, I gotta go back, turn the car around and all that. So it's better to be on a drift zone. Sometimes it's annoying for the drift zone to keep on starting up again, and you know, when you end the drift zone. That's why I like this drift zone, because it's long. So even if you mess up, you can still keep drifting in the zone, you know what I mean? And you won't have to keep on worrying about this ticker, the drift zone running out, you failing the drift zone and all that. You don't want to worry about any of that. So yes, there are a couple places in the map that you can go around, but there again, the bends don't last forever. Right, so the drift zones are kind of cool because the drift zone, you're guaranteed that the road is going to be twisty and it's going to give you enough opportunities to just try around. So that's like one of the tips, right? Make sure you pick a place that has a lot of windy roads, and you know what to do. You'll have enough space, you'll have enough time to kind of drift around and learn and experiment, all right, without the road running out, because that's like really annoying, and not a lot of people talk about that, but it is frustrating and it happens. So find a good drift zone, and then we'll talk about the car, obviously, because mostly drifting is all about the car and what you pick, and then you can talk about technically what do you want to drive and how you want to drive it and all that. So all that we're going to talk about in a second, but you have to think about what car you are going to go for and how are you going to find that car. Okay, so in my view, the best thing to do if we're learning, because I think that worked for me, is to find a car that's already tuned, because you don't want to be learning how to drift in the game on the roads and how to tune at the same time. All right, you could, but those are two separate skills, and they'll just overwhelm you because both of them, I feel like, are worthy of their own time to kind of learn and get used to. All right, I still don't know tuning very well at all when it comes to drifting. I know the basic tuning setup, and I've tuned a couple of cars to drift. In fact, one of my favorite cars is the Police Interceptor, the Crown Victoria, and I tuned that myself, but I kind of just, followed some general guidelines that I knew about, that I learned about, and it worked out. So that's all it is. I couldn't really explain every little bit in that tuning setup, but I know what I did, and I could do that with another car. And actually, during this live stream, I'm gonna try to do that with a Mercedes NE63. I was starting to play around with it, and I'm gonna try to tune it during the live stream to see how things go. And if you have any suggestions, you can tell me in the comments what I should do to tune it to be a better drifter. Anyway, so that's a little bit kind of like a preamble before we get into what I've learned about actual mechanics of drift in this game. All right, so let's talk about that. All right, the first thing is obviously to pick the right car, and when you pick the right car, you don't have to worry about anything else. You have to only worry about focusing on your steering, your acceleration, your braking, and all of that. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to constantly be in doubt, like, oh my God, do I have the right car? Is it the car's fault? Is it my fault? Right? All of that is really, really annoying, and you don't want to fall into that. You want to make sure that the car that you have is a car that is perfect for drifting. It's already set up, and then you worry about some of the other things. What's up, Emily? This is a Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 5. All right, so that's that. So in order to pick a car, is there a car that I would recommend? I would say you want to pick a Formula Drift car. All right, go to your Formula Drift section, and you might have already unlocked a couple of these. There's a car pack that's a Formula Drift car pack also, but some of these you unlock during the campaign, or some of these you can even get from a wheel spin. So for example, this HSV Malu, ugly looking car, I think, but it's a great drifter. I got this off a wheel spin, and I think I tuned it for a drift. Probably not, actually, because it's Formula Drift already, right? This Chevy Corvette isn't anything that I bought or anything like that, so this is probably possible to get through wheel spins and stuff. And the easiest one to get is the Donut Media Nissan 240SX. This comes from one of the campaign missions from the Donut Media story. Once you play those, you eventually get this car. But you want to pick a car that's already from a Formula Drift. And then there's this Mustangs too that you can get. This Mustang is a Formula Drift Mustang. I didn't get that from a car pack or anything. This Nissan 370Z you also get during the campaign. So the point I'm trying to make is that there's a couple of options you have, and you don't have to worry about tuning the car. You can just pick a car that comes from the game. So in my case, I'll either, I think I got the 246 from the 240SX from a drift pack. So we can try one of the cars that I didn't get from either a pack or anything else. This Corvette, for example, is not a Corvette from a Formula Drift car pack. So probably got it from a wheel spin or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but here we have it. Corvettes do drift nice in this game also. So the first step is to pick your car, right? I'm just randomly picking this car. I haven't even driven this Corvette very much. Yeah, I think the fourth gear looks and feels nice. Okay, so there you go. I'm getting a little hang of it. And practice is obviously key. So once you have your car set up and you picked out the right car, now it's time to discuss what you actually have to do to get the car sideways and to get it going sideways. Oh, and not falling off a cliff. Right? Talking and explaining everything is always hard. But in any case, so we're going downhill. For learners, you know what? Let me just stop and explain a couple of things. So I think one of the things that's really important when you're learning how to drift is to just drive the car and get a feeling of the throttle, the acceleration. All right, so now that we have the right car, we know the car is not the problem if we can't drift. We just have to work on our technique. So the car is supposed to be able to drift, right? Let's see how this car responds going straight. Okay, so if I floor it, it already starts to... I notice the acceleration is high enough that if I floor the throttle, it already starts to kind of skid. And that's a good sign. That means we have good drift tires on it. Very nice. All right. But in the first gear, you can theoretically drift, but you're going to reach your peak very quickly of speed. So you want to find the right gear to drift in. All right. The other thing you want to do and get practice with is just drift in a straight line and see how the car responds, and try to just straighten it out as it's drifting. All right, so this works better on a straight road, so there you go. Now this is the kind of practice you want to be doing, right? I don't have a straight road right now, so this is very annoying because we are in a drift zone, but let me go backwards to kind of showcase what I'm trying to say. All right. So you want to go straight, and you want to see what happens when you throttle. Full throttle. Okay, when you go full throttle, the car's rear moves. Okay, we got to pay attention to that. When you go full throttle, the car is going left or right. Okay, that means to keep the car straight, we have to kind of pay attention now to our steering while we're throttling. All right, so when I press all the way, I know the car already starts to drift. So you already now can learn how to get the car into a drift, right? You get into a drift by going full throttle. Look at that. I don't have to do anything. I just went full throttle and the car started drifting. So now it's about control. This is the hardest part of drifting, right? The control is the hardest part. Now there's a couple of tools available to us to learn the control or to practice with the control, so your car can kind of move something like this, what you're seeing right now on the screen, right? There are some tools available to us, but in the beginning, the thing you want to learn is throttle, right? The throttle is the biggest thing. You can use e-brake to drift also, and once you have a USB handbrake, that really helps out a lot. But in the beginning, the most important thing to learn is your throttle. All right, because like I said, the car will go into drift. If it's a drift, Formula Drift car, it'll get into a drift. All you got to do is press the throttle all the way. See, I'm not doing anything. Like, I just press the throttle all the way and the car's already drifting. I'm not doing anything. But the hard part is to then control that throttling so that you can control the movement of the car. And that takes a long time to learn, and I feel like I'm still learning that too. So here, I'm throttling full right now, but I just took my foot off the throttle because the other thing that's happening when you're flooring the throttle is that the car is speeding up. All right, the throttling makes the car turn, so you need to kind of figure out like how much to turn, and if it's turning too much, you let go of the throttle a little bit. And the other thing is you can also do a left foot brake while that's happening. So left foot braking would also keep the car kind of steady at an angle. If it's like turning too much mid-drift, you can press left foot braking to kind of keep it where it is for a little bit longer, for a couple of seconds longer. If the throttle's not working, if the throttle is too much, you can do left foot braking real quick to kind of get the car to stay in that position. I just did it. Right? So you don't lose the drift. And I'm gonna just go down all the way in this drift zone because downhill drifting is harder than uphill drifting. And the reason why the downhill drifting is harder, you shouldn't use downhill drifting when you're learning to drift because you gain a lot of speed. And that makes things more complicated than you need them to be when you're trying to learn, right? So I wouldn't recommend using downhill, right? Pick an uphill or just a flat straight. Flat straight is obviously the best. This drift zone is a little bit challenging because it's a lot of elevation. And as you can see, it changes in elevation a lot. And the bends are, some are short, some are long, so it's just very difficult. All right, I'm gonna show you where I learned to drift. And I still feel that that spot is the best for every new person who's trying to perfect drifting. I think the spot that I'm about to show you is where you wanna go. All right, I wanna show you that as soon as we finish this one. This Corvette does drift very nice. Too much speed, too much speed. right, let's go ahead and go to the drift track practice area. And that area you're gonna find right here, the test track. Let's go to the test track. If you're learning how to drift, this is the place you want to be. All right, this is the place. No distractions. You get a couple of straights, you get a couple of bends, you get a short bend, a little bit. This one is a longer one. It's just perfect. You get the elevation right here, which actually helps you a little bit, right? So this track is really perfect, and you don't have to worry too much about speed or like figuring out how fast you need to go. This is like a tight turn, a very sharp turn. You get that practice also, and you get to practice really this thing, this turning the car sideways and then keeping it sideways. This is the hardest thing for most people, and to this day I feel like 8 times out of 10, at least 8 times out of 10, I messed that up too. So here, there you go, see? Right there. This is the practice, this is the place where you want to come and practice. And the cool thing about it is that there's a drift zone right across from here. So once you're done practicing, you can try the drift zone right across the street, across the road, and you can see if your skills are improving or not, right? So let me show you where that drift zone is. You'll see it right here. Go straight through and try the drift zone. It's a pretty cool drift zone. I'll show you that right now. This is a speed zone. And there's our drift zone. There you go. Enter drifting. Very tiny, one little bend. But you get to see if you can make this bend without breaking your drift. All right, that's a hard thing to do, actually. All right, go through the entire bend without breaking your drift. What's up, Octavian? There you go. This is what you want to be able to do. Get through the entire bend without breaking your drift. Going this way is a little bit harder, and sometimes this is actually an important lesson too. Sometimes one end of the drift zone is harder than the other end, right? This depends on your style, depends on how the drift zone is set up. Entering from one side might be a little bit easier for you than entering from the other side, so try from both sides. So now this I'm going to do without e-brake.
You have arrived at your destination.
There you go. So without e-brake. Now without e-brake, I guess if most people, you know, when they're starting out, they might not have, I don't want to say most people because I don't know, but I'm assuming that there's a group of people in the beginning who don't have an e-brake. They just have a wheel, and that's all they got right now because everything else costs extra money. So if you don't have an e-brake, you want to really practice your throttling. And you want to use throttling and steering, there you go, to start the drift. All right, and then use your left foot braking to kind of slow the car down and to keep that drift going. Right, I just did that. It wasn't as clean around the bend. I was a little bit late on my left foot braking, but you get the point. So 45,000 drift. There you go. I got 33,000. All right. 45,000 is a nice sounding challenge though. Let's see if we can do 45,000 with this car. All right. So going back to drift school tips, if you have any drifting tips for Forza Horizon 5 using a wheel, put them in the comments because we're just trying to learn together. All right. So now if you have an e-brake, it's actually a lot easier, I would say. All right. So you could enter. There you go.
You have arrived at your
34,000. And there you go. Very nice, right? So nice stoppage. When you have an e-brake, it allows you to slow the car down, and sometimes that extra speed is a drift killer, and you don't want that, right? You want to maintain a certain level of speed, which is why knowing your car's geared is very important, because the higher the speeds, the harder it will be to control the car when it starts to spin, right? So you got to be very careful with that. I can't do no 45,000, man. I was trying to cheat a little bit. I was trying to see if I could go in spinning.
You have arrived at your destination.
It's a cool challenge though. Maybe with the Supra I can do it. Oh, that was my best, I would think. 37,000 almost we got there. That was pretty cool. All right, let's switch on to another car and let's keep talking about things. While I'm here, might as well show you my settings also. So the other thing when it comes to the wheel is if you're practicing your throttling, you're getting everything, you're getting a feel of everything, and the car is still just like the steering is just very hard to control on the steering wheel, then most likely I would say, I'm 100% sure it's the settings that you have on the car. Oh look, we get 1,000 credit. How garbage was that? All right, so let's go test out or check out some settings. So in my settings, for you it's cut off a little bit, but difficulty, you want to turn off all of your assists like braking, stability control, traction control. You don't need those. And try steering at a simulation. Once you have it at simulation, that might, change things for you. All right, simulation will give it that kind of smoothness of the effect when you're spinning your wheel around. And then down here in the advanced control settings, these are the big ones that matter to my drifting a lot. The deceleration zone, I reduce it a little bit, right? It says the larger this dead zone, the less brakes will need to be pressed. All right, so that means the smaller, the more brake will have to be pressed. So it's kind of giving you more control, so your brakes are not too sensitive. So you're basically reducing the sensitivity of your brakes a little bit, which is helpful because you don't want to like lock up very quickly. You want to reduce your dead zone so you have a little bit more responsiveness of the brakes. All right, then the main things that I change here are these three: the force feedback scale, the center spring scale, and the wheel damper scale. They're all the same number, so it's a little bit easy to remember, but I've changed the vibration down to 0.3 also to keep a smooth feeling wheel so it's not jerky and bumpy. And then the last two things you want to change on the mechanical trail scale to 1.3 and force feedback minimum force to 1.1. Everything else is preference. Road feel, you can turn it up or down, it's up to you. Off-road, same thing. And steering sensitivity, we just leave alone. So those are really the only settings that you change, but once you do, the car drifts a lot better with the wheel, that is, right? I don't know about controller. Got off the road there a little bit, but that was going good. Right, so there you go. Let's go ahead and get into the Supra and see if things change a little bit. Let me check out the car mastery for this car. Oh, I've gotten the wheel spin off of it. I didn't get this. Should have gotten that too. That too. Oh man, doing all this work and not getting enough credit, that's annoying. All right, back to the car that I have maxed out pretty much, and it's a Formula Drift Toyota Supra MK4. The pink edition. There you go. Swift, thanks, man. I appreciate you. All right, so there you go. This is one of my favorite cars in the game. For drifting, it has so much control. Stays in drift forever. Look at that. I got my new personal best and I wasn't even trying. I just haven't used this drift zone very much. I'm using it for this video just for fun, but this car is a really cool car. This came from a drift pack, the Toyota Supra MK4. All right, this is the Formula Drift edition. Definitely hands down my favorite car. It does have a lot of force feedback, so if you're on a steering wheel, it's gonna give you a workout. All right, which is kind of what I like about this car. Look how smooth the drift is though. Oh my gosh, just breaking my records left and right. All right, now I like that it has a lot of force feedback because that gives me a lot of confidence with steering. Right, so there you go, the quick 180, get back in. All right, let's maybe do something funny a little bit. Look at that. My gosh, this thing is beautiful. Right, so the Supra is my number one when it comes to drifting. And it shows. It's just an incredible drift. We're going to do one more here and then we'll switch up the drift zone. Look at this. Like, look how little work I'm doing. All I was doing was just checking out my throttle. Like, my foot is what I was basically trying to make sure I'm not over accelerating too much. All right, so when I felt like the car, because the more I press the throttle, the more the car is going to move sideways. That's the thing to remember. I know it's obvious, but for a lot of people, they keep on flooring or pressing harder on the throttle. The thing with drifting is this, the habit you have to get out of is pressing more on the throttle. You got to let go of the throttle. All right, that takes a little bit of practice to get used to, but you know, you let go of the throttle a little bit and the drift kind of stays a little bit longer. Look at my speed. Right, if you look at the speedometer, the only time I press harder on the throttle is if the road is turning and I want the car to turn with the road and maintain that drift. That's when I want to press hard on the throttle, because I know when I press hard on the throttle, the car is gonna move, it's gonna turn. But if I just wanted the car to keep going in one direction the way it's going, I don't want to keep throttling hard. All right, because if I keep throttling is like a steering wheel. It's like telling the car which way to go. So if you throttle too much, it's gonna turn too much. If you throttle too little, it's not gonna turn at all. Right, so that's the hard thing to learn, but you have to let go of the throttle. There you go. Right now I'm pressing hard because the road is turning. Now I'm letting go. There you go. All right. And right now I flip the car around just by throttling. I just floored the throttle, right? You could call that doing donuts or whatever, right? But look at this. Car's parked. I'm gonna full throttle, and it's just gonna turn. See, on its own, it's just turning. My steering is a little bit turned, but the car keeps on going because I'm full throttling right now. And that's basically donuts. Look at my steering. I'm not doing much with the steering, just holding it in place, and the car keeps on spinning on its own, right? So this is something that you have to kind of practice and understand about each car, because each car is different. right? You have to know how much a car moves, how much it turns when you throttle, right? Because they're all going to be different. So with the Supra, I've kind of learned this a lot, like, because I've drifted this car a lot, so I kind of know how this car behaves, and it makes me a better drifter with this car for that reason. All right, let's go ahead and try to crush another drift zone, some other drift zone. Which one should we do? There's lots of really good ones here. You know what you could do is we could do filter out and only look at drifting, so the map is only showing us drifts. There you go. Just keep that on, turn everything else off. Now where's the drifts at? There's a little zone right here. Looks decent. I don't think I've done too much there, but let's go there. You know what? Let's come from this side here. Yeah, let's go from that side. And let's go see what that's about. Swift, I'm agreeing with you. I think Acero is definitely fun. I tried, what's that mod that they have? It's not a mod, but it's a special server with the traffic. No Hezi. And I really enjoyed No Hezi, but then, you know, it gets old. Like, after a while, what else? Like, you're just trying to beat your own traffic score, and that's it. But it was a lot of fun, so I did that. I played with the Shitoku Highway, and it was a lot of fun, but it wasn't enough to make me not want to come to Forza. Forza is still, it has the most variety, most options. You could do stunt jumps, you could do stunt races, you could do Hot Wheels stuff if you're into that. I'm not, but if you are, you could, right? So it really, Forza gives you so many options, which is what I like about it. And then the open world, you really can't compete. None of the games have a better open world experience than Forza, right? Now, the Forza is not the most realistic, obviously. It's an arcade kind of a handling, right? Even with simulation on, it's not the best handling experience in terms of realism. But it's not trying to be that. I don't think it's trying to be that. And if you want a realistic experience, like Assetto Corsa, like real sim racing, you know, Assetto Corsa Competizione, or you're trying to go for that kind of experience, then you'll be disappointed in Forza. But if you're just trying to have fun, to me, Forza is like really the only option. And like, I'm actually making a video about this also, why in 2025 Forza is still a relevant game, and it's a great game to play. We know PlayStation 5 just got it, so like, it's good enough to be a new game on PlayStation, right? That's pretty cool. But like, this game just works. There's no glitches. Do you notice any hiccups? Do you notice any problems? You know, do I feel my PC is like about to burn? No, my PC is doing fine. It's chilling. Okay, everything is good. The thing just works, and that's what I love about Forza 2. I don't have to spend extra time trying to figure out, like, oh, what do I have the wrong setting? Why isn't my car doing this or that? Like, all that stuff goes with Assetto Corsa, and people, you know, spend a lot of time. There's like videos and videos and videos, and like thousands of videos on YouTube about how to get Assetto Corsa looking good, how to get Assetto Corsa feeling good, how to get Assetto Corsa like with this mod or that mod. I mean, it's a whole like content area. Like, people are just generating content, putting on YouTube just to teach people how to get into this game. And I'm like, yo, the graphics are not even that good, right? Even with, so I tried it with like Soul and Pure. You know, they have these different mods you can put on to kind of enhance the visual, because the game is really old. Assetto Corsa is very old, obviously, right? It's not meant to be competing with games of today, but people have created all these things for it, and it still doesn't look that great. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look that great. The roads don't look that great. The cars look great, actually. The cars, you can get them looking pretty good, and the cars already, you know, were pretty decent. But everything else, like the starry night, look at the clouds, the skies, the beautiful night, you know, feel in Forza. You don't get that. All right, so there you go. You know, my point of doing this live stream today was to try to share a couple of things that I've learned about drifting with you guys. And so those of us who are still having a hard time with drifting, we can come together as a community and help one another out with some tips. So with the tips that I gave so far, number one, pick the right car, pick a Formula Drift car so you don't have to worry about tuning it or anything like that. That's a different skill set. All right, you don't want to be worrying about that when you're trying to learn how to drift. So pick a car that you know for sure already is equipped with drifting mechanics. All right, check, got it, done. Once you're in that car, then you got to practice a little bit of just driving straight and flooring the acceleration or the throttle. Floor it to see what happens. Floor it and turn your steering wheel left or right slightly to start to see what the car is doing. All right, so drive on the straight first before you start drifting. Drive on the straight, full floor, like full throttle, go full throttle, and with your steering wheel, just tweak it, make it go left, right just a little bit to see if the car will start drifting on its own. Usually in third gear of most Formula Drift cars, third gear, the earliest is second gear, but the second gear is going to top up pretty quick for most cars. So third gear is like the magic gear. All right, for Formula Drift cars, a lot of them. Third and fourth is really where the sweet spot is at. So be in third gear, find a straight, slightly left and right, and see what the car does when you put your foot all the way down. All right, you're gonna crash, you're gonna hit things, whatever. Eventually, you want to be able to go straight, like this, right? Go straight and keep decent control of the car. Keep decent control of the car. Like that's what you're practicing with those straights, right? And once you have that, and you get a feeling of what your throttle is like, what the car does when you go full throttle, which direction does it move in, and how long does it stay that way. Once you start getting that feeling, go to that test track, the drift test track, right by where the airplane is parked, and you do a jump off the airplane, which is the festival site, all right, the main festival site, the first one. Go there, and right past the airplane, right past the jump, you'll see a test track. And on that test track, you want to be able to do laps of that test track, drifting really well. Once you can accomplish that, you're good. And then I show you the settings also. There's another setting that I want to show you. Every wheel is different. I know the Moza and Fanatec are the two famous ones, obviously. And most people have either Moza or Fanatec. But I can show you my Fanatec settings because there are settings on the wheel too that you gotta change. Right? I find that outside of the drift zones, I actually drift better on the regular roads than I do on the drift zone. But probably because the drift zones are meant to be challenging and stuff. So, see, in third gear, this car is going 110, 108 miles per hour. So you got to really keep your speed in check. Speed will destroy your drift, as you can see. Right? Speed will destroy your drift. So you got to keep your speed in check. There you go. And e-brake. Once you start drifting with an e-brake, a USB handbrake, man, it feels so much better because you have so much more control. Again, you can control the speed with your e-brake. And once you control the speed and you can turn the car sideways at the same time, it's doing two things at once for you, right? So that's really cool. It's reducing the speed and it's turning the car sideways to put you in a drift and start your drift for you. So that the e-brake, I'm a big fan of the e-brake. It takes, I guess you could say, it takes a little bit less skill, but some might even say it's a little bit of cheating. But hey, if you're having fun, who cares? There you go. This is what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to go straight, drift around on a straight, and keep the car in control. Right? Once you can do that, that means you're learning. we go. Just weaving through. I wish Forza had better traffic though. Like I said, when I tried that Assetto Corsa server, the Chautauqua Highway, that traffic stuff does feel a lot of fun. It just gets boring. I wish Forza had some traffic built into it so that we could enhance the intensity of the traffic, like we'd make it more cars or less cars or faster cars or slower cars, stuff like that. If we could do that, if we had settings that allowed us to control that, that would be so much fun. Oh, I was reading chat and I crashed into that beetle. Thanks, Swift. See you next time. Yep, my settings are simulation settings, and I'm using the wheel, as you can see. All right, let's go ahead and try another drift zone. I'm trying to try drift zones that I haven't, you know, driven a lot for. Oh, there's like a seasonal drift zone or something. I gotta use the TVR for this. What does that mean? Do I have the TVR? Let's go over there first. Let's drift over there and then we'll find the TVR. I think I have a TVR. Let me check my TVR. What just happened? Okay, TVR. I think I have a drift setup TVR. Yeah, right here, the Sagaris TVR. I got a Sagaris TVR. Let's do that one. Alright, let me, so while we're here, oh no, this is the desert. We're in the desert. I thought we were at the other festival site. Oh no, we are. We are. This is the best festival site that I want. So, what I was saying before about the test track, this is where you want to be. There's your test track, right here. The Horizon test track. This is where you want to be.
200 yards. Turn right.
Okay, this TVR is not bad.
Turn right.
All right, before you turn right, let me practice a little bit with this car. If we're gonna try to do a seasonal event with this.
Calculating route.
Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go there. Let's just fast travel. What the heck? Let's go. And we're gonna try to do that event. Wait, did it make me travel at all? No, I'm still driving 4.5 miles. Bro, this is what's broken about this game. The fast travel system is so broken on this game. But that's okay, we'll get practice with the car. But they're putting us on a highway, so I can't even drift around. There you go. Ooh, wants to drift. It wants to dance. Ooh, yeah, a little jerky. After this drift zone, we're gonna tune a car together. So stay tuned if you're here for that. We'll try to tune a car for drifting after this drift zone that I do. Bro, they brought me from here to farther. I tried to do a fast travel from here, and they put me farther away from the destination than bring it closer. What the heck is wrong with this fast travel problem with Forza, man? Somebody's gotta tell them about this. Fast travel doesn't work good at all. Half the time it like puts me somewhere maybe a little bit close, but I still have to drive like 3 miles to get to it, which is so annoying. I'm like, I didn't do fast travel and pay 2,500 credits so that I have to still drive 3 miles to try to get to that. The place that I thought you were gonna get me quickly. It's so stupid. All right, here we go. 1 mile away now. Not bad. This car drifts. Okay, so there's our drift zone. Let me shift down a little bit. We were coming in pretty hot. Ooh, messed up there. That speed. We'll keep this. We'll keep this. We'll keep this here too. Oh, got off the road though. That was a no-no. All right. See, the car is pretty nice, I ain't gonna lie. It's just that I don't have a lot of practice with this car. Woo! Oh no, I messed up right at the end. And I finished it.
When it is safe to do so.
That was a new personal best though. Okay. And I did the seasonal objective. Messed up at the very end. We got a super wheel spin, y'all. Let's do it. All right, let's do it. What did I just get? Let's do a super wheel spin. Yay. All right, let me... Bro, are you serious? Last wheel spin gave me 1,000. This triple wheel spin, the super wheel spin gave me this garbage. Oh my god, I can't even buy a car with that money. Anyway, I guess I could buy some car with that money, but you know what I mean. Can't even buy a nice car with that money. All right, seriously now. This car is nice. I would like to dial it down just a little bit on acceleration, and I think that would help it. Is a bit jerky, so like the transition back to back is definitely harder than the Supra. Gets good angles though if you get it right. That last one was real nice. Oh, got off the road. Okay, not bad, guys, not bad. Let's try a different drift zone. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's tune a car up. Let's go home and let's try to turn a car into a drifter. How about that? So I'll tell you, there's a car that I'm working on. I haven't nailed it yet, but let me show you what I've done so far. And it's still not hitting the spot perfect right now. I don't know what setting I need to change to make it better. I'm gonna try to explain what the problem is, and maybe some of you can tell me in the comments what I should do. But let's go to the garage. Let's go to the, I think it's the E63 I have. It's the E63 I'm turning into a Brabus right here. The E63S. Alright. So here's what we have so far. Now, I'm going to tell you what I know about tuning for drifting. Alright? Not a lot. Not a lot. But here's what I do know. Alright? No, I don't need a tuning setup. I need a custom upgrade. Alright. So what I do know is that the first thing you want to do is you want to pick out max things that'll give you the most horsepower, because you want to get your speed. See, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but you want your speed number on your car stats to be pretty high when you're trying to drift. All right, so the way to do that is just max out on everything engine related so that the horsepower is very high. All right, that's number one. I already did that for this car. Then for the platforming, you don't want your brakes to be super good, but you want to get brakes that keep your car above a 5.0. I feel like that's been pretty good for me. All right, so you do what you have to do that. Now you do have to turn certain things on here to make sure that your differentials open up and all that. But another thing for a big car is usually the bigger cars are already heavy, so if you can lighten them up a little bit, that would help. And the smaller cars, if you're tuning them, I find that those could benefit from being a little heavier, because when they're a little bit heavier, they don't transition from left to right or right to left too quickly. Sometimes if you have a very light car, it'll just go like left right very quick, and then you have to like wrestle with the steering wheel to make sure you're on the right side and throttling the right way and all that. And I prefer a car that's a smooth drifter, kind of like an old classic, you know, like it slowly drifts in, gets into a drift, and then the transitions are nice and slow, so you can figure out how much throttle to give and how much steering to change, right? Slower transitions are better than faster ones, especially when you're first learning it, right? So you want to change these settings accordingly. For drivetrain, I have a drift transmission, right? That's a pretty straightforward thing. You don't need a rocket scientist for that. But sometimes, you know, you're getting a transmission that like a 7-speed could be a good one. It just depends. In this case, it's just slightly worse than the drift transmission. The problem with the drift transmission is usually it's only 4 speeds, and you only need second and third gear anyway. But you know, that can get in the way for some people. All right, so I keep that a drift transmission, max out on everything else, and then if you're an all-wheel drive, you want to swap to a rear-wheel drive. Obviously, if you're drifting, you got to go for a rear wheel. In this case, I have a stock engine because I don't want my horsepower to be reduced, and all of these other options are reducing the horsepower by a lot, and you don't want that. You need power, especially in your second and third gear when you're trying to set up a car for a drift. All right, and then just, you know, make sure for anything braking related, you just keep the braking numbers low. You want braking and handling to be down. All right, and you want everything else, especially speed, to be up. All right, that's what you want. So with that, then you come into the actual custom tuning. Now this is a hard part, and what I've learned is when it comes to tires, keep the front lower pressure than the rear, because I guess obviously with the rear one you want it to be able to spin out, so you want a stiffer tire in the rear so that it's easier, it loses grip, that's it, right? So I actually have mine too high right now. I feel like that might be the issue, but the front should be lower. Then the front should always be softer than the rear, right? And that applies to mostly everything else too. Now, a lot of people say you should move your final drive all the way up, max it out. But look what happens if I do. If I do that, my gearing ratio gets real small, and my top speed gets real slow. And I don't want that. So in my case, in this car, I don't want my final drive to be that far up. So I'll keep it at 305 like I did, because that gives me 179 miles per hour top speed, and you do need a little bit of speed. All right, and my first gear is taking me up to, it looks like, above 60. Second is anywhere between 60 and 100 or so, and the third is topping up at 130 miles per hour. So my drifting gear is probably going to be my second gear in this car, but let's see. All right, here, camber, front and rear, I match them, and that works for me, and keep them negative, maxed out. -5, -5. Toe really does help with that quick transition and the stability. So I increase my, or decrease my toe just a tad bit on the front, because I don't want the turn-in response to be too wild. The turn-in response, if it's nice and slow and steady, I prefer that. So that's why I try to keep this down here. I don't mess with the angle. I keep the caster maxed out as it is. All right, anti-roll bars, again, the stiffer these are, the tighter your steering is going to be, and the straighter the car is going to want to be. All right, and again, front reduce a little bit, and the rear can stay stiff. That's fine. All right, the front should be softer. Same thing here. Keep the front softer for the springs, and keep the rear a little bit higher than the front. All right, ride height didn't touch. That's how it was when we set up the our powertrain. That's it, just stayed that way. Damping, again, keep front soft, keep rear stiff. Down here for bumper stiffness, mine is a little bit opposite right now, so I'm gonna increase the rear and decrease. Let's start here. Let's do a 7 and 7.5 and see how that feels. I don't know. All right. I don't know the in-depth things here at all. The arrow I didn't even unlock. I don't need to for this, but sometimes people like to do the same thing with arrow. They try to reduce the front and increase the back. Brake, keep it like this. Differential, maxed out. Acceleration, deceleration, maxed out. All right, once you have that, typically a car drifts well for me. Now, let me show you what the graph looks like. When you do the things that I just did, look at my yellow graph. This is what a drift graph looks like. A car that drifts well, this is what it looks like, right? I actually, the yellow one is a better graph than the one that I created. My current one is a blue one because I'm learning to tune myself. But see what they did with the braking. I don't know how they got braking to reduce that much, but whatever they did, the braking is down. All right. The problem with this setup, my setup right now, is I still don't have 1,000 horsepower. All right. So we're going to see what my setup does. My setup, by the way, is the blue hexagon that you see. I would like it to be more like the yellow, but it's not. Although mine is a performance class S1. I do have some power there. All right. So let's see what happens. All right.
Turn right.
Oh, okay. Okay, the second gear. No, third is going to be the one. Okay, so here we go. The third can give me a lot of speed if I want it. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Do I need to get into fourth? Maybe I do need to move the drivetrain up a little bit. Yeah, see, it's not staying in drift right now for me, so that's my problem. It's straightening out too much. Maybe it's the camber that's straightening it out too much. I'll have to give it a try. But there's a drift zone up here. I want to take it there. There you go. All right, with that, oh, I have to go up there. I have to go up there. Let me go up there. It's a big car. It is moving nice and slow though during transition, so I'll say that that's a good thing.
It is safe to do so.
There you go. That was a nice bend. There you go. It doesn't sound like much right now though. Look at that. All right, did complete that bend pretty nicely. Oh, I didn't want to crash into those cars, so I kind of got on the dirt there. But these bends are really nice to get a feeling of also, of your drift. There you go.
In 400 yards,
Okay.
turn right.
Look at that.
Turn right.
Look at that. Wow. Okay. I enjoyed that. That's a pretty cool one. Cadillac limo is the best drift? I don't know, man.
In 400 yards, turn right.
There you go. Okay, so it's still not perfect. Let me try that other setup. The Performance Class A setup. Let me see what that does. This was nice and chill though. This setup was nice and chill. The car wasn't going out of control or anything like that. Upgrades and tunes. My tuning setups. Let me put this on. This one is gonna give me a higher top speed and a lot more power. Okay, a lot more power. And a lot more power is your friend in drifting. Okay, a lot more power is usually good. You want a lot more power because it makes it easier for the car to get into drift, and a lot of times that's, you know, you could do that real well. Then all you gotta do is work on your control and it'll be fine. Oh, they took the Brabus kit off. Now it's not Brabus anymore. Now it's just regular old Mercedes. Okay, it feels a lot lighter. Doesn't feel as heavy. There you go. Drifting in this POV is crazy in this game. It's just like the view is crazy. Switching from the front window to the side window is really weird. It feels really weird. So we're in 5th gear.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Where is it telling me to go? What did I sign up for? Okay, it does drift pretty nice in this setup, guys. It's better than the one that I was doing. But it doesn't have the Brabus kit. I wanted the Brabus kit. Let's crash. Look out the side window. Nice. It does drift nice in this tuning setup, I gotta say.
In 400 yards, turn right.
A little too much throttle, and there you go. See, a little too much throttle, and that ends your whole thing. Drift is gone because I got too throttle happy.
Turn right.
All right, so there you go. Let's go on to a different drift zone. Now, this is the desert drift zone.
You have arrived at your destination.
Thank you. Finally, it worked. All right, I'm gonna get in 5th gear because 5th. Oh, look at that guy jumping onto the road. The stuff you see in Forza. All right, so it drifts nice, guys. It drifts nice. Handles pretty nice during drift also. Knocked down a couple of flags, but who cares?
You have arrived at your destination.
Turn the car around, facing the right way. Very nice. Ah, too much speed. Too much speed. Look at that. Woo! This thing is good, guys. Hi. What's up, champ? So there you have it. Wow, this is a nice tuning setup. Let's go switch cars up. We're gonna try one last car. What should we try? Oh, Jags. Jaguars are another good drift. You know what? Before we do a Jag, let me just check and try out my favorites. Okay, so in my favorites, what do I have that's drift worthy? Oh, the M4 Coupe is real nice. The M5, we just tried a Mercedes, might as well try M5. The CS, let's do that. What's up, Andy? Oh, this feels better than the Mercedes. I ain't gonna lie. This is better. Oh man, buttery smooth.
You have arrived at your destination.
Buttery smooth. That was a lot of fun. Woo! Too much throttle. Too much throttle. There you go. Ooh, just missed that car. All right, back to a new car. One of my favorites, M2. Supra is my number one, the Supra MK4, and the M2 is my number two. This thing just drifts nice. Look at that. Man, this thing is amazing. Look at that. Amazing. This car drifts so nice. No accidents, nothing. Just pure drift. Ah. Man, this thing is nice. Look at that. Gets the angle, holds it. It's amazing. What's next? All right, now we're gonna try the Jaguar because I wanted to try some of my favorite cars. We got another wheel spin. Let's do this one. Can we get lucky now? 125,000. Finally, something good. All right. Okay, let's try one of these old school, you know, Americans right here. The Monte Carlo Performance Class A. Oh, how about the Charger? I have that set up. Yeah, let's do the Charger. Is there another Charger I have? I have the Dodge Challenger with the Pakistani skin. I haven't driven this in a long time. Let me try that. And then we'll go to the other Charger also, the Charger RT. Yeah, the M2 Peppery is better than Formula Drift. I'm telling you, that car is amazing. For a drift, man, that thing moves real nice. And so does this. This is a slow, chill kind of drifter. American muscle, you know. It's not gonna give you like a thrill, but drifts real nice. The Challenger's real nice. Got the Pakistani flag. Real nice. Real smooth. Like, look at this. It's super sweet. It's super sweet. This thing looks really nice. Feels really nice. All right, for a drifter, obviously in terms of speed and power, it can go even higher. It's a Challenger after all, but like, real nice. No! Woo! Just barely missed that. Alright, so the Challenger feels real nice. Doesn't get great angles though, in my opinion. It doesn't turn as much. But drifts real nice. Next up, we're gonna try the RT. All right, let's try this. Man, I haven't driven these cars in so long. I've had them on my favorites list for a while, but like, who has the time to be always driving all your cars? There's just way too many in this game. Oh, this thing. Okay, okay. Woo! Look at that. This thing is huge too on top of that. And still moves so good.
Arrived at your
Look at
destination.
that. Real nice chill drift. All these American muscles, they're so nice and slow, which gives them this like smooth feeling. Knocked down a few flags, but gosh, we'll take that. New personal best. This thing is so nice. Drifts so good. All right, straighten it out. Go on to the next. What else we got in the favorites list today? I should do a separate video just of my favorite drifts. This is giving me an idea. All right, switching favorites. What else do I have favorited? All right, we got through everything here. These Corvettes are so nice to drift too. Man. All this is mouth-watering. Right here. Let's try the CTS, the Cadillac. We didn't try the Cadillac. I just made a video with the GNX, so I'm not going to hop into that. I'm trying to go into the cars that I haven't been in a long time. Yeah, you're right. Noni, you're right. These are drift setups, tuning setups that I've picked up. But with the gearing ratios, I could definitely play around with a lot more of them. Or, you know, the other thing is obviously it's the skill too. You got a left foot brake to keep that. Okay, so this one goes way out. See, this is what you were talking about, Noni. Now, this one has enough of a runway for me within the third gear to kind of play around with the throttle a little bit. Look at that. Very nice. All right, that felt pretty good. Let's go this way. Personal best. My gosh, that was dope right there. This car is amazing. All right, next up, switch cars to another favorite. Which one are we gonna pick next? All right, let's go past these American ones. We've done a lot of those. Obviously, this cop one we gotta do. This will be my number 3 favorite. My top 3. This will be my number 3. Sometimes it's my number 1. I'll be honest with you. This thing I tuned myself. Man, this thing is amazing.
Arrived at your destination.
There you go. Turn it around. Go back the other way. Police car drifts. That hill always throws me off. I'm doing something wrong at the hill. Redo that. Let's redo that.
Arrived at your destination.
There you go. Let's go back. Why did that fail? Because I knocked out that pole at the end? That was crazy.
Arrived at your destination.
There you go. Excuse me. this car is amazing. All right, last one. What are we gonna try? Last. All right, moving past all of these. This is all the Formula Drift stuff. Haven't driven the Malu in a long time. The S2000. Whoa. Oh, I want to do a Jaguar, so let's do a Jaguar. Should we do the XKR or the XES? Let's go with the XKR. A little bit sporty, a little bit more fun. It's a tiny little thing. At one time, I loved this car. Man, this car is nice. Man, this thing is crazy good. Into the bushes. Woo, the XKR. Dope car to drift in. Turn this into a drifter if you haven't. Check this out. Fast too, man. Check that out. Another personal best. Almost had 200,000. My goodness, this is a go. You got to definitely get this one. Oh, that's a good point. A for A. I gotta show you my Fanatec wheel settings. So let me do that real quick. All right, so these are the wheel settings that I'm going with right now. The wheel rotation is 1080. It's hard for me to see. Let me see. Okay, so the wheel rotation is 1080. Let me move the cursor. We got force feedback strength at 100% because I tweaked that in-game. I have that at 0.6 in the in-game settings, but here on the Fanatec panel, I have it at 100%. Force feedback scale is peak. Natural damper is all the way down to 7%. This, by the way, is the 8 Newton meter setup because the Fanatec CSL DD does have two variations, the 5 Newton meter and the 8 Newton meter. I had upgraded mine to the 8 Newton meter, so that theoretically has more power, and you definitely feel it. And the natural damper going down helps with that. Natural friction is off, and so is inertia. These are just extra filters that I don't like to mess with. Anything extra I don't like to mess with too much. The interpretation filter, same thing. It's by default at 11. I brought it down to 4. I just, even for racing, drive it at 4, and that feels just fine. Force effect intensity is at full 100%. Force effect strength is full 100%. And then again, anything extra, these extra effects like the spring effect and the damper effect, turn that off also. So that's really it. The main thing is the natural damper here and the wheel rotation. If you got the wheel rotation at 1080, the damper at 7%, and the interpolation filter at 4, it's a pretty sweet setup. That's what I use. All right, so hopefully A4L, that helps you with the settings question. If you want to look at my in-game settings, this is what I got. Difficulty, all of the assists are off. Traction, stability, they're both off. And then for steering, we went into simulation. Then we go down to advanced controls. Everything is as is except deceleration axis dead zone. Drop that by 10 points to 90. Then everything is as is until we get to vibration scale. Drop that down to 0.3. Force feedback, dropped it down to 0.6. Center spring, dropped it down to 0.6. Wheel damper, dropped it down to 0.6. Mechanical trail, raised it to 1.3. Force feedback, raised it to 1.1. Everything else is left alone. These last two are just a preference. You don't have to change them at all, but I have my road feel down to 0.8 and my off-road feel down to 0.7. And that's it. Those are the settings. Done. Bingo. Let's pick a different car and see what we can do. All right, so that was a Jaguar. Amazing. Feels really good. We could drift around the Lamborghini, but I want to pick a car that I haven't. Oh, this Lexus. I used to love this Lexus. The LC500. It's a great setup, guys. The LC500 is great for drifting also. Car kind of screams, and it's peaked at 4th, but man, look at that. It's so good. The angles are great. The control is so good. There you have it. Beautiful, awesome looking car and drifts real nice. Oh gosh, these are awesome. Anyway, guys, I showed you all my settings, a few tips that I did know that helped me. I shared those with you during this live stream. If that helped, hopefully I did. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.